Hello everyone, and welcome to Yoshi 1 Kenobi's the Prismatic Bridge Golgari deck. In this deck, we play the Prismatic Bridge, a 5-colored enchantment. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a creature or planeswalker, and put that card on the battlefield. So this just keeps on summoning random creatures or planeswalkers from our deck every turn until we overwhelm our opponent and win the game. You can also play the 3-mana Esika God of the Three, a 1/4 Vigilant mana dork that gives all other legendary creatures vigilance and mana dorkness, which will allow us to get the 5 mana to cast the Prismatic Bridge in a pinch. So, how are we playing Golgari and yet have access to 5 colors? Well, there's 2 keys. The first key is Binding the Old Gods allows us to fetch for a forest card and put it on the library tab. This gives us access to Zagoth Triome, Indata Triome, or Kaya Triome, which gives us access to red, white, or blue respectively. So that's one way to have access to mana. The second way is the 3 Fabled Passages, which allows us to fetch any of the colored lands. And finally, we have Cultivate, which allows us to search for 2 basic land cards, put one on battlefield tab and the other one in our hands. So with that, we have 4, 8, plus 3 plus the individual color, so we have 12 sources of each individual color. And so we can get the 5 colors of mana fairly easily. As for rounding up our deck, we're playing mostly removals, so Eliminate, Heartless Act, 3 Elspeth's Nightmare, Binding the Old Gods also removal, 4 Shadow's Verdict because mono white can't beat it, pretty good against mono red as well. And now, the fun part. We want to play one of planeswalkers or powerful legendary creatures. That's also one of the reasons why we're only playing 3 Prismatic Bridge, because Prismatic Bridge will hit Esika, and we don't really want to special summon the 1/4 from our deck. That's a little weak for a 5-mana enchantment that does nothing on the turn we play it. So we're going to mitigate that by playing only 3 Esikas, which means there's only 2 left in our library when we cast the Prismatic Bridge. And then we want to limit the amount of legendary copies. So we're playing 2 Valkis. One for the Valki side, one for the Tybalt side. You typically want to use the Tybalt side if you hit it from the Prismatic Bridge. You are also playing 1 Liliana, Waker of the Dead, 1 Ashiok, 1 Kaya, 1 Vivian, 1 Ugin, 1 Garruk, 1 Vorinclex, Monstrous Raider. And then we're playing 3 Elder Gargaroths, because they're really good against the aggro matchups. You can either cast it on 5, or bring it for free with Prismatic Bridge. Both cases are good. And then there's always the dream of Prismatic Bridge brings in a Vorinclex, and you get to cast a Planeswalker with double loyalty and ultimate right off the bat. And so this is a really cool list. It's fun to play. The only downside is that there's a lot of Binding the Old Gods to get rid of your Prismatic Bridge. But for matchups where you get to resolve it and just go to town with it, it's really awesome. So let's see it in action. Win some games. We are playing Golgari Prismatic Bridge on MTG Arena Standard against 981 or 9810 Re. Yeah, that's probably more like it. We'll keep this. This is very good. Removal. Pretty much all our colors, Cultivate, Elder Gargaroth, and a Shadow's Verdict. What could go wrong? Well, we're probably about to find out, because I don't think our opponent's plan is to get steamrolled. Our opponent's plan is to attack us, until we lose. Well, let's keep our Valki. We'll get stomped if we have to. Opponent charges at us with the Fireblade Charger. Opponent keeps up the Bone Crusher Giant, which will allow us to cultivate. We have white, green, red. We need blue, black. Play the black source, keep the blue source as a surprise for our opponent. I'm just gonna throw the Bone Crusher Giant at our face. And we'll get a Prismatic Bridge against mono red. Without dying on the spot. That's the important part. There we go. Prismatic Bridge is online. The only thing that's scary here is Embercleave, because Embercleave hits us for 11. We still get a Shadow's Verdict with a powerful creature or planeswalker off of the bridge. Hopefully we just don't hit an Esika, because then we'll have to exile our own Esika with Shadow's Verdict, which would be a downer. I'll see. Do you Embercleave? Question number 1. Castle Embereth? That is probably game for us. Unless we hit the Esika. Alright. If we do hit Esika, then we should probably go with the Gargaroth. And just have 2 powerful blockers. Try to stonewall our opponent while Prismatic Bridge does its thing. Now, it's unlikely that we'll hit our last Esika next turn. So if we can get something like an Ugin, then we should be in a winning position. Actually, we should be right now in a winning position. I mean, Mono Red does have problems dealing with Elder Gargaroth. There's almost no way to deal with it without at least losing the Bone Crusher Giant. Even Embercleaving the Bone Crusher Giant means that, well, we'll take 4, but the Elder Gargaroth is going to kill the Bone Crusher Giant. Also, our opponent would have needed to top deck it. Or he just played really poorly last turn. Let's gain life, we have everything we need. Except life. We always want more life against Mono Red. But if we take time to generate life, then we're not generating board. Alright, opponent has the Embercleave this turn. An unfortunate top deck for us. But then again, because we got that extra turn... Ouch. Okay, that's quite an ouch. I didn't expect the Rimrock on top of it.
You got a good head on those
Well, Garruk's here now, so everything is fine. We will Shadow's Verdict. We will make sure that there's no shenanigans coming. Like this Goldspan Dragon, for example. Which would have killed us on the spot. And we'll create a pair of 2/2 wolves.
You're not scared of dogs.
And I'll pass the turn back. Hopefully our opponent doesn't draw removal for Valki. The shock, or snow shock, would be quite lethal. On the bright side, we'll get to turn Valki into a dragon. That seems fun. Ah, and now we're safe. Let's pull up your Rimrock Knight. Draw a card. Play Kaya. Put a counter on a Gargaroth for safekeeping. Hit you for 6. And now this is almost unlosable, I think. Opponent would need 2 Phoenixes. But we still gain the life off to Gargaroth. And the opponent doesn't have that miracle answer, which brings us to a victory with Prismatic Bridge Golgari against Red Deck wins. We are playing Golgari Prismatic Bridge on MTG Arena Standard against Jean Loza. Opponent mulligans. Ellen's not playing Yorion, so we'll mulligan as well because we have nothing to play early on. This will keep. Send back Garruk. We don't have much to play early on, but we have Valki. Opponent is playing Adventures. I'll play our tap land first. Probably fetching black. Ensure we get to cast Lily on time. Opponent swings with the Innkeeper. I'll play Valki. Hopefully there's only one adventure card in your opponent's hand. Or none. None also does the trick. So now Valki can become a Goldspan Dragon. It's always been his dream. Although I guess his dream is to become a legendary 7-mana planeswalker. But being a big dragon's also pretty nice. Yes, I will trade. Sorry, I'm ruining your dream, Valki. But Edgewall Innkeepers are one of the ways the opponent gets back into this game. Alright, I'd rather if that doesn't happen. So I'll kill the Innkeeper with Elspeth's Nightmare. Pass the turn back. Although now it's a land race. If the opponent hits enough lands to play that Goldspan Dragon, we might be into trouble. Alright, opponent does have enough lands. Alright. And we can't play anything, so that'll be our turn. So now we're facing Goldspan Dragon. And the opponent has a ton of mana. Opponent is grueling away. Now we have Binding the Old Gods, which will do short work of your dragon. But we don't have immediate pressure. Questing Beast. Questing Beast is a thing. We only have 3 cards in our graveyard, so we can't kill it with Liliana. Let's go for the Indata Triome. Casting Liliana is a bit of a waste. I think I have to hard cast Esika. For defensive measures. This feels like the right play. As much as I like the Prismatic Bridge, and I know this can't block Questing Beast, but if the opponent plays another hasty threat or something threatening, we'll need this on the board when we cast the Elder Gargaroth. Eliminate's good. Now Esika has Death Touch, so we'll attack with Esika. It's free because of Vigilance. And we get to play the Elder Gargaroth, which will hopefully hold the fort. As long as the opponent doesn't take an Ember Cleave or something of the sort, should be in good shape. I'll accept the trade. And I want... I think I want the life. We'll see the ensure survival against Goldspan Dragon. Opponent Bone Crushes, Bone Crushes. Alright, and we have a Prismatic Bridge. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we can keep our Esik on board. We play Lily, we minus, kill the Bone Crusher Giant.
Don't you just love the smell of death?
I guess we have an attack here. Eliminate the... Yeah, I'm gonna tap Esika, won't I? Yeah. Oops. Shouldn't have done that. I forgot I was gonna tap for the mana. I knew I had the mana, but that leaves Liliana dead. So she's going to sleep with the dead now.
I'm a survivor.
We will Binding the Old Gods because we want the land that's attached to it. Sure, let's kill the 1/1. Opponent has plenty of lands and mana to do whatever they want to do. Just afraid of Goldspan Dragon now. Bone Crusher Giant's also a threat. Vorinclex. Alright, blue's good. Vorinclex is good. And it has vigilance, thanks to Essica. So there's always that. Arnie Broken Brow. That'll take us down to 1. Block Arnie. We can no longer target Bone Crusher Giant with anything. But we get to cast the Prismatic Bridge. Prismatic Bridge online. Then you have Vigilance. The last card to rule them all. Nothing with haste, please. Nothing that burns. And certainly not a flying dragon. Shatter Skull Smashing. We just got smashed. That was a close game. The Prismatic Bridge was online, but it just didn't get the turn to activate and get hopefully a Planeswalker which would have gotten double loyalty from Vorinclex. But it shall remain just a dream for this game. We're playing Golgari Prismatic Bridge on MTG Arena Standard against 13 OSs. So there's Mac OS, there's Windows OS, there's Android, there's iOS. Well, I guess that name is probably going to be more 13 losses, starting with ours. Alright, we'll keep this. We're a little short on lands for my taste. I really don't want to cast Essica as a god, but I really want to cast her as an enchantment. You're lost, boss, if we draw lands. Play Zagoth Triome tapped. If we could draw a land, Cultivate, it'd be ideal. I'll just send a request to my deck manager right now. Forest. Love Strike Beast. Okay, opponent's probably playing Temur. In which case we should Valki here. See what you've got. Okay. We'll be taking the Brushfire Elemental. Removing diversity off of our opponent's hand, as well as a 1-mana creature. That hand is scary. Lovestruck Beast into Embercleave is never something that you want to be on receiving end of. Well, Embercleave you never want to be on receiving end of, regardless. Yeah, you may swing for 1. We absolutely need a land here. We get it. It's a tap land, but it's a land. Alright. Which means we'll get to play Essica next turn. We'll just pass a turn back. We have the very awkward transform Valki into a Brushfire Elemental Crag the Fabled Passage play here. So I'll keep that option open. It's a weird synergy. Those come up once in a while. Opponent casts the Lovestruck Beast, tapping out. Opponent moves to combat, sees our trick. Which means we'll get the Crag the Fabled Passage. We have blue, so we want red. We should also use one of our removal spells, probably a Heartless Act. Let's remove the Scavenging Ooze before it becomes a problem. And we draw another land. Alright, so there's other. Essica's going to be a Prismatic Bridge after all. So we already have the blue. have green black, so we just need another land. Might as well fetch our 4th color. Kill the Strike Beast. Just casually, yeah, there you go. That's what binding the old gods do. Are you an old god? You probably should be. I mean, they're 5/5 for 3. So we'll bind you to this big 3 and then transform you into a land as the Lord tells us. And then we'll have a 3rd chapter, which his only purpose is to keep the enchantment alive long enough for Yorion to blink it. Alright, Scavenging Ooze. Opponent's keeping the double green up in order to eat the creatures. You may eat, Scavenging Ooze. You may eat. Passing the turn back. Alright. You can hit me for 1. Doesn't really matter. This will take an Indata Triome. Do we let our opponent Embercleave? Opponent doesn't have double red. And there's no more creatures in the graveyard. So yeah, we will let you Embercleave. But we will have a Prismatic Bridge online. And we'll have Eliminate to take care of the Embercleaved Ooze next turn. Assuming the opponent finds the mana. And then we get to do some fun stuff. Well, fun stuff is going to come out of our deck and interact with our opponent. I know you want to play that Embercleave. Alright. You have the mana. You're gonna play it. And you're gonna whack me with it. No blocks. We'll take 11, down to 7. That's the part that always hurts. I thought I had a creature there for a second. No, there's nothing. Opponent's just exiling our stuff because they can. Ugin. Well, nice to see you here. Ugin's always a good one. So if we exile for 2... We'll lose our Valki if we do that. We can also play the Eliminate. Thing this. Hit you with Valki and pass the turn back. I think that's the play here, and we just sit on Eliminate. If the opponent plays anything too threatening, then we'll exile it with Ugin. Then we'll just keep on exiling with Ugin. And the second tick of Prismatic Bridge should be game ending. I just don't want to give a hasty threat to our opponent. So I don't think the typical Gruul players don't have ways to survive destroy target creature. It's not in their blood. Technically they could be playing stuff. Opponent moves to combat. Attacks us. We will eliminate. See if my prediction is true. And it is. Opponent did not have a way to interact with our eliminate. And does not have the way to beat Ugin and the Prismatic Bridge, so our opponent resigns. And that's how you do it, with Prismatic Bridge. We're playing Golgari Prismatic Bridge on MTG Arena Standard. Our opponent, R1K, is playing Obosh, which probably means Adventure Deck. This hand seems to be decent against the Timur Adventure. Let's open up, fetch some black source, then fetch some green source, then Elspeth's Nightmare. Then Cultivate the rest of our mana. Alright, well, here comes the target for Elspeth's Nightmare, which also confirms our suspicion that our opponent is indeed playing a Teamer Adventure deck. It's an odd deck, that's for sure. Haha. I'm a dad, I'm allowed dad jokes. Alright. Opponent foretells a card. I foretell that it's an Alrun's Epiphany. I'm not sure the deck plays anything else. They want a ramp here? Elder Gargaroth seems pretty strong, considering our opponent's slightly starved. That means that I have to lose out on one of the colors of mana that we need to cast our Prismatic Bridge. But that's okay. I mean, Elder Gargaroth into Elder Gargaroth into Ashiok seems pretty solid. Alright, opponents on 3 lands. Hard cast the Bone Crusher Giant. You don't see that every day. Actually, you probably do if you're playing Magic Arena, because, well, there's so many Bone Crusher Giants that you'll see them stomping, you'll see them just being played, and you'll see them doing both. You'll also see them stuck in the hands. I'm not sure why I'm talking so much about Bone Crusher Giant, as I should be talking about the Elder Gargaroth. Let's draw a card here. Stomp. Our big Elder Beast just got stomped. That's okay, because we got a Valki. Edgewall Innkeeper. That thing is dangerous. Do you want a double Nightmare? You definitely want one Nightmare. Edgewall Innkeeper must go. Just feels like such a shame to just cast Valki here, and such a shame to keep the mana open. But I think we'll be mana inefficient in order to keep our resources. Opponent plays a Lovestruck Beast. Swings with the 1/1. Shadow's Verdict is nice. Alrun's Epiphany goes out. That's for sure. Opponent still has a Lovestruck Beast. We can kill the Lovestruck Beast with Valki, which would leave our opponent in a spot where our opponent cannot kill Valki. Exile, you Lovestruck Beast. Then I'll pass a turn back. If we can just stick Valki on the board, then we can probably win from there. Ah, that's why we killed the second Elspeth's Nightmare. Although I guess we'll Shadow's Verdict now that there's a Bone Crusher Giant joining the fray. Although I must say that this Prismatic Bridge, it's calling to me. Oh, we'll plus Tibalt first. Always get your options.
Surely you can handle a little pain.
So what are our options? We can Prismatic Bridge, Stomp. Then we'll lose Valki. And let's go with the Shadow's Verdict. Play the Triome, pass the turn, with Bone Crusher Giant up. Because like I said, everyone plays Bone Crusher Giants, even if you have to steal it from your opponent's deck. Yeah, the opponent's pretty much dead now. Tibalt is enough to win. Play this on blue, and the opponent resigns, as it should. Too much, too strong. We cultivated our power, and Elder Gargaroth Tybalt were good enough. We are playing Golgari Prismatic Bridge on MTG Arena Standard against Jade Spy or Jade Spy. One of the two. And you never know with these names. We're gonna mulligan this, because we only have 2 lands, we don't have black. This we will keep. Let's ship the binding. The Zagoth Triome. We'll get a Cultivate on time, and then we get to Elder Gargaroth and into Shadow's Verdict, which is a solid line. And our deck really wants us to have that Binding of the God. So 1 on top, 1 on bottom. Still a good card. An answer for everything, but only one of everything. So I guess it's an answer for something. Alright, the opponent is playing Teamer Ramp. We have Zagoth Triome, so we need white. Actually, we need double green to cast the Elder Gargaroth. Let's play it this way. Opponent's on 4 mana. Opponent has access to some level of counter spells. Not anymore. Oh yeah, that card still exists. It's the I want to be Uro card. Well, let's play Elder Gargaroth. Yeah, gain 2 life, play an additional land, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 creature, and draw a card. 3, 6, 7. Opponent is in range of Ultimatum, which is quite scary. Opponent cultivates, less scary. But now opponent has a ton of mana. I guess we'll do the only thing which we can. Play more Elder Gargaroths and try to close this game as fast as we can. Pass the turn back. Fortunately, we only have 15 points of power on the battlefield, with our opponent at 16. And that's the beginning of a great comeback story for our opponent. Veil of Frost and Fire doesn't deal with the Gargaroths. I don't like that Scry Tree. And the opponent hasn't been playing many permanents. Well, I guess we should cultivate first. Thin out our land thin out our deck a little bit. It is tapped. It is Binding the Old Gods. Get rid of that Battle of Frost and Fire. Let's make 1, 3, 3 and draw a card. We do want some resources if the opponent somehow manages to get out of this board state. But we want to make sure we have enough attackers to go through whatever our opponent puts up. Little Battle on Frost and Fire. We need something else. That'll do. A lot of Battles of Frost and Fire. I'll go for the Indata Triome and cast Vivian.
You don't respect nature.
I'll make a reaching 3/3 and I'll pass the turn back. Opponent gets the Scry 3 twice. Scary proposition. But then again, we hopefully have our opponent cornered on the battlefield. Although next turn our opponent will get to draw 4 cards for every card they cast, costing 5 mana or more. Which I'm not too thrilled about. There's no real way for us to actually win on the spot, unless we cycle the Triome into a Vorinclex. Which I guess we still have 3 cards worth to dig. This Vela, the Ice Shaper, will die immediately to an Eliminate. Well, as soon as I can cast said Eliminate. And you are eliminated. Opponent sacks the Haven. Our creature now has Death Touch. We have a Fabled Passage on top. So we'll start by cycling the Triome. Garruk's now on top. 3-6. Vorinclex does win us the game. Is it worth cycling with Fabled Passage? That's the question. I don't think so. Garruk's just pretty good. So I hit you with a 3-3. Opponent's choosing whether to block or not. Doesn't really matter. One life is too much life. Opponent decides to block. Alright. Let's put a trampling one.
Beauty lies in variation.
And now our opponent gets to refuel significantly. Rune's Epiphany. Draw 4. Now that's a card. Make 2 birds, draw 4 cards, take an extra turn. I want some of those. Oh, well, I guess it's draw 2, discard 1. Not quite as good, but still. I'd still play a few of those. Spell Ice Shaper. You shall not pass. Now the opponent only has 1 card in hand, but it's a card of choice. Thankfully the opponent no longer gets to draw 15 off of spells they cast. So we still have a game here. Unless there's an ultimatum coming. Well, even we might be able to survive an ultimatum. One that doesn't put like 2 Terror of the Peaks and a Beanstalk Giant in play. Or an Ugin. Ugin's always a problem. Although we have Ugins too. But we'll sing to Vivian. And then the opponent needs to deal with our board. Alright, well, Wolf Willow Haven. Yes, you have a lot of faith in that Wolf Willow Haven. Well, the 2 of them. Garruk will deal with 1. Valki. Do you get to cast the Valki as Tybalt? Let's find out. No, we don't. Oh well. Was worth a shot. And it's a free card anyways. That Shadow's Verdict's not what I want. So let's see if we can get something better. Heartless Act. Again, not ideal. Let's put another trampling creature.
I love making new friends.
You can force the chump here if we play Garruk. Oh no, actually we win with Garruk. Never mind. We know that there's a Heartless Act on top. To get to destroy creature, still have 2 mana left. We get to cast the Heartless Act, kill the remaining wolf, and swing for lethal. And that's how you do it. Using, well, good Golgari cards on MTG Arena Standard. We are playing Golgari Prismatic Bridge on MTG Arena Standard against Chef W. Alright, Chef W, let's see what you've got cooked up for us with your Lurrus. Lurrus means rogues, I guess. Rogues, mono black or mono white. And Elspeth's Nightmare is one of the best cards against rogues. Pretty decent in the other matchups. Well, considering the opponent's committing to playing only weak creatures, then Elspeth's Nightmare is pretty good. So it's a mono blacklist. Or I guess Orzhov Cleric is a possibility, but it's much less played. Fiend Artisan. That's cool. I really like Fiend Artisan. I'm a fan. Card should see a bit more play. Oh, yeah, of course. Sack the Arcfiend. For another Arcfiend? That would work. Sack it for nothing. Bring it back as a 5/5. That is cool. We do have the answer for it, but that is cool. Well, let's say I appreciate your style, opponent. Alright, we have white, blue, then we have a Cultivate in hand, so we're probably better off just fetching one of our primary colors. Let's go for black. Since most of the cards in our hand cost them black mana, we have a lot of time, so we are going to cultivate. We need the red, and we'll fetch the blue, because opponents fear Sultai. Then we'll pass the turn back. Mire Triton once more, milling a few cards, hitting us. And now we get the Prismatic Bridge, which really just adds insult to injury. Your opponent is stuck on 2 lands. But I like the Fiend Artisan move. So I'm going to spare you the fact of just being killed by bad stuff and show you the awesomeness of our deck. Let's exile your Eidolon, and then we'll exile everything, because I don't really want to lose the life from the serrated Scorpions. And Prismatic Bridge wins it! Or the board wipe versus Manuscript. A little bit of a combination of both. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe. It won't cost you any mana, and it greatly helps to support this channel and keep the awesome videos coming. Until next time, may the fun be with you.